Hello and welcome, my name is Clive from clivesart.co.uk and you join me in the studio again. Yes, so what I'm going to be doing in this particular episode, well, we're going to be looking at a very simple painting and it's just going to be a few different colours onto a white background. Yes, a white background. So I thought we would change things up a little bit and perhaps this is something you could do with the children. Why not involve them in art? This is most important, and I would like to ask you all if you could possibly click the link below. I'll put a card there which is going to take you into a page on my website where you can actually join us for the email letter. It's a free monthly thing that I send out. It's got videos on there and all the other stuff, all the fun stuff, competitions. So please join that and then you get that every month. So if this is the painting you're interested in, please stay with me, and after this short introduction, I invite you to join me in the studio and let's get painting. Nice. So thank you very much for joining me in the studio. I'm just going to have a little drink, and you might be thinking, more tea, Clive? No, actually, this is a diet cola. I'm not going to say the name of it because I don't want to promote it. Not yet, anyway. Not until they come and get me. Been drinking a lot of tea lately, so I thought I'd have some diet cola here. Okay, simple little painting. We got a little canvas, there you go, and just for those who want to know the size of it, because inevitably I get asked this question, and this is an 8 by 12 canvas, and we're going to use it on a landscape, portrait, landscape. Simples. Yes, I get asked all these questions all the time, so I thought, well, let's just clear things up before we move on. Now I'm going to apply some gesso to this, so you know how I do that. So I'm going to go, this is pre-primed. Yes, I'm going to prime it again at least twice, so I'm going to get on with that, and then when I come back to you, that's all done. As you can see, I got the pot and I'm actually getting some gesso into the pot. I'm misting down the canvas. It's already been pre-soaked or pre-misted. My brushes are pre-dampened. Dry, and we'll do that another twice. So once we've done that, we've gessoed it 2 to 3 times. I like 3 times, don't worry about that. If you want to do it 2, I do suggest you do gesso these, and for those people that are going to say, do I need to gesso it because it's pre-primed? Yes, you do. And the reason is because you don't know what's on there. There could be grease spots and anything. So to do that, this is the best way to actually get the acrylic to work for you, in my opinion. And it works for me, so it works for me, yes. And it works for my students as well. That's brilliant stuff. So yeah, minimum of 2 coats. Try not to touch it with your fingertips because you'll put grease on there. Always test with the back of your fingers, as you know. And what I'm going to do now is going to go to the palette and we're going to have a look at the colours. Okay, so we're at the palette, which is brilliant. Now, I've come up with a fantastic painting and it's going to be a parrot. Yes, a parrot. It's going to be a macaw. I used to breed macaws many years ago, and that was in another garden shed I used to have. I used to have budgies, I used to have canaries, I used to have golden finches, I used to have cockatiels, I used to have macaws, and it was a hobby of mine I've had ever since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. And yeah, I've sold birds and showed budgies as well, so it was a nice hobby. So I thought, let's paint a macaw, a parrot. And well, there is red in a parrot. Yes, so I've got a nice cadmium red hue. We're going to put that onto our palette, and I'm going to plonk it in a corner. I'm just going to put about 2 teaspoons, Clive, 2 teaspoons worth on my palette. The other colour that's in the Macaw is yellow. Yes, it is. And I've decided I'm going to use a cadmium yellow medium hue. Now, we've discussed hues before, and for those people who don't know what a hue is, please look at my colour theory course. There's 4 lessons there, and there's a couple of older ones, but the more recent ones go into things in a little bit more depth. But we're going to use a cadmium yellow medium, and I'm going to put that one by there, and about the same amount, because red and yellow is going to give us an orange. If I want an orange, then we've got an orange. Now, the other thing I'd like to use, it's one of my favourite reds, is a alizarin crimson. Yes, as a alizarin crimson. Now, that's a nice, bright, vibrant, richy type of red. And when your tube is starting to get a little bit empty, squeeze it as tight as you can, and then just fold the edge over like that, and bend it like that, and then there you go. Don't squeeze it too hard, because it's going to come out when you unscrew this, and you don't want that to happen. And we're going to put that next to our red there. Now you can see the difference in the colour, so that's a lot richer than that. So alizarin crimson. In other selection, I'm going to be using an ultramarine blue, because the parrots or the macaws I know have got a red tint to the blue. A couple of the blue feathers they got in there, so there's going to be blue in there, but it's more of a reddy blue, more of a violet-y type of colour. So I've decided I'm going to use ultramarine, which is a warm blue, and I know there's got a bit of red in it. Doesn't tell you how to mix it. No, it doesn't. It's a shame. Okay, so I'm going to be putting that there, away from my yellow. I don't want it to turn to green. My neutrals, and just don't forget that browns are classed as neutrals as well. Okay, but I say neutrals are normally a black and a white, okay, and a grey. So my paint is gone all sticky, but this is an old tube, and I thought, well, I just as well use it up than discard it. So try not to get any of these dirty chunks, if you've got an old tube of paint, into the paint. And if there are any tiny little lumps in there, then try and pick them out with a palette knife or something. And of course, I'm going to be using titanium white. Now, my jar is upside down because the paint settles, and if it was that way, all the paint will be there, and I'll be going trying to get it all out, and it will split everywhere if it's full of air. So I store these upside down, but you've got to be careful when you take the top off, it does go everywhere. So I tip it that way, then I undo the top, and as you can see, there's a little bit of a loose paint there, and then I tip it up, and I put it out, and I put it back, and Bob's your uncle. Yes, he is. Well, there you go. So we've got my colours. I've got my alizarin crimson, cadmium yellow, cadmium red, cadmium yellow medium, ultramarine blue. I've got a Mars black and a titanium white. And that's all the colours that I'm going to be using on the palette today. So let's get to the canvas. So as you know, I don't go through selections of brushes for the simple reason is I don't know myself what I'm going to be using. So, okay, so let's get a pencil and let's draw a quick outline. You can do this if you want to. I suggest you do something like, let's have a look. Let's see if we can make this easy. Let's put a triangle there like that, and then another triangle maybe there. Like let's bring that down a bit like that. There we are. And let's put a circle there like that. I'll do for now. If you can't draw, don't worry about it. And you can always take a screenshot of this if you want to, and you can just take it from there. So I don't know if you can actually see that. We'll have a look closer. There you go. So basically all I've done is I basically put a triangle in there, and I put another triangle there. I put a bit of an oval shape there, put a circle there, and I done a couple of lines. That's all we're going to go by. You can use a watercolour pencil on that. I don't happen to have one at the moment. And so let's have a look at what we're going to go and do on this particular one. Okay, so we go into the palette now. And let's have a bit of fun, shall we? Let's have a bit of fun. Let's see if we can find a sponge. Why not? There we are. I've got a sponge. There's a little sponge there. Now what I suggest you do is just put it in some water. Get it nice and wet. There you go. And this is, you need to squeeze it really, really well. You don't want this soaking wet. And what I normally do is I get a bit of kitchen roll and I just tap it in the kitchen roll like that. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want this to take the moisture out the paint. I want this to have the patterns on it, but I don't want it to take the moisture out of the paint. I'm just putting that in a bin. Okay, so we put that there for now, and then we'll just get, I don't know, let's have a look. I'll get a very short flat. There we are, nice short flat. And I'm going to go into a little bit of alizarin crimson. I'm not picking up any water. Oh, in fact, I tell you what we didn't do. We didn't put the medium mix formula. And I'm running out of it. I'll have to mix some more. There you go. And I'm going to add a bit of water to that. There you go. There we are. All done now, all done. Okay, so I just get a touch of, I see it a touch, a very small amount I actually use on that. And then I'm just going to rub in very quickly. A bit of red like that. I'm going to bin my cadmium red now. As you notice, it's a lot more, it's more of an orange red if you look at it. That's a very dark red. This is quite an orange red. I'm taking the excess off my brush and going into a little bit of this now. Just a little bit of a brighter type of and then we'll go straight into a little bit of yellow, and let's put a bit of yellow here and there. And wash my brush. I am not washed my brush yet. Just developing a little bit of shape. I'm going to go into a touch of black. Not a lot, just a little touch. Just to get a bit of colour on our brush, because I want to put a little bit of shadowing in there like that. And I'm just going to put my brush I'm going to put my brush in the pot of water. I'm picking up another detail brush. This is a number 3 detail brush, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of black on there. And I'm just going to go across the top very quickly, like that, and then down like that. I wet a bit of the brush again. I'm trying to get this nice smooth and creamy. I want a nice sharp point. And I want that to come. That's not doing what I wanted to do. I'm going to change my brush. And you can see why I don't pick brushes now. I'm going to go into a smaller number 1 and number 2 detail. I want to get this to a definite point. I'll sharpen this up later. And again, come down like that. Putting my brush in the water, picking up my other brush, giving it a quick rinse. Getting a bit of kitchen roll, taking the moisture off the brush, again going in a bit of that. Now not adding any more water to my brush, and I'm just going to put in a few lines here and there, just shadow lines like this. Okay, so I'm going to get my hairdryer and I'm going to dry that. I'm going to get my sponge. I'm just going to, let's see if I can't cut a little bit of that off, because cannibalize the sponge. Ta-dum. I only want a little tiny bit of sponge, see? I only want a little tiny bit of sponge. Now I've got to think now, I've got to go, okay, let's go into a bit of red, bring a bit of yellow into that. Let's get those colours to mix. Don't mix them too much. You want a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, get them, and then just go in there and put a couple of little dots here and there. And that, a bit of texture in there. Just go into a bit of black, take the excess off, a little bit of black, and then go in there. Like that. It's a cup. Right. Yellow. Be careful now with the black and the yellow mixed together. It's going to give you a bit of a greeny colour. Chuck a little bit of that in there, like that. And just build this up around underneath the chest. It's called a crop on birds. That area there is actually called the crop, and that's where they store all their stones. They pick up little bits of gravel, little bits of stone, and they use that to actually rub the kernels of the seed together and break it up to digest, because they haven't got stomachs like human beings. And that's a bit of alizarin crimson now. I'm going to say I'm not cleaning my sponge at all, and I'm just going to increase that colour in there like that. And I want to go into a little bit of a lighter colour, and if you can hear some noise, it's the children next door again. Let's put a little bit of colour in there now like that. Oh, and we do have fun. This is great. This is very therapeutic when I paint like this. I love painting like this. So let's get a little bit of black now there, and let's just bring a bit of black around here like that. No reason, just feel like it's a good idea at the time. Okay, so I'm going to just chuck my sponge in there. I'm going to get a script liner brush. I'm going to go into some black. I don't even know why I brought the brew out now. There we are, it doesn't matter. And I'm just going to go. Just put some lines in here and there. Like that. Washing the brush. Picking up a bit of white. I just changed my brush actually. I got a number 3 detail brush again, but it's just a clean one. And I switch and change between these now just to save me washing these all the time. I'm just getting a bit of red, alizarin crimson on this brush now, just to strengthen up a couple of colours here and there. Back into that little bit of black mix, just to put some shadows in. I'm switching between brushes. I'm not cleaning my brushes at the moment. I'm just doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Let's get that across the top of the head now. Try and blend our black and that red in together. There you go. Bit of yellow, bringing a bit of yellow into the tail. My neighbour, Mrs. Clark, dear Mrs. Clark and Mr. Clark, who used to live next door to me and used to have a macaw, and he used to all the time. And they are so noisy, these birds, they really are. But they're brightly coloured and very expensive actually. I was paying, you could pay about £1,200 when I was breeding them, and they'd only have I only ever had 1 or 2 eggs off the parrots when I was breeding them, but they got so expensive that I had to stop breeding them and that, really, to be honest. So and I'm just adding a little bit of detail here and there and then here and here and there and there and here. And let's put a bit of shadow at the top there. A little bit of colour there, like that. Increase this black there. And where's my sponge? It's in the water. I've got to get my sponge out of the water and wash my sponge out. And get it, clean the sponge, get that moisture out of it. Don't let this sponge sit on the side, because acrylic will dry into it and you'll never get it out of there, not really. And it'll be ruined. So you don't need this wet, you need this dry, but pliable. And let's pick up a bit more yellow on the sponge, and then let's just increase this colour now into there, and under the nape of the crop. We said is a crop, didn't we? We did. And just bring a bit of colour in there. Put a bit of spot there. There you go. And let's put a little bit there. Right there, like that. Bit of red, bit of resin crimson now straight into that. And put a bit of resin crimson in. There you go. So all I want to do now is get a little bit of yellow across to there. I'm going to bring a bit of white into it. Just want to sparkle it up a bit. Again with this sponge. And then we'll just put a couple of little highlights in. Like that. There you go. Whatever. There. Some there. Oh. Okay, and get your if you've got a little eraser, I got one of these little battery operated ones, so we need to get rid of those pencil marks. And then you could get yourself where's he gone? Clive, where did it? Get yourself a nice short flat, bit of water, bit of titanium white, touch of black. Ooh, not too much. You don't want this. You don't want this a dark grey. So you just keep adding the white. Get a touch of yellow to it. A bit more. I want to get that a luminous look on, and I'm just gonna around the edge slightly. Don't worry about it looking broken, because that's the effect we want to try and get. What this is going to do is just going to take the brightness of that canvas away, and don't worry about going over those little spots. We can sort that out in just a second. And the reason I didn't do this before is because it's the last minute thought. That's what happens when you paint on the fly. Oh, I'll paint on a parrot. So just get a little bit of a grey tone colour going on there. You don't have to be too accurate. All you need is just to add a little bit of colour. There you go. And you come back into your detail brush. Just pick up make sure it's dry. Pick up a little bit of black and just go back over those little spots that you've just painted over. Don't worry about them being too accurate. This is not photorealistic painting. This is a representation. There you go. And again, let's just sharpen up the beak. There you go. And as I said, with these tutorials, you get a lot more time than I do. So you enjoy this painting, because I used to paint I used to paint so many of these over the years, and I've sold bucket loads of them. And one of my best sellers actually, and I was. Don't know why I stopped painting them, but I did, and that's how it goes. And there you go. That's how it is sometimes. Things take over your life, and YouTube has certainly done that for me. There you go. Let's put that in there. I'm just going to pick up a bit more white. I just want to. Not happy with the way that's looking there, so. Knowing when to stop is the most important thing. And I preach and preach and preach, and I waffle and waffle and waffle, and I don't listen to myself sometimes, which is important to do, but anyway, you get the idea. And all we arranged me to do now is get myself my script liner. I'm going to go into that bit of that Mars black that we've mixed, get a nice thin inky mix, pull it to a point, and I'm in this corner. I'm just going to go and sign my name. There you go. A parrot. Okay. And there we go, simple painting. Yes, that didn't take long, and actually in real time. The only thing I speeded up really was the gessoing and the air drying. So other than that, this is in real time. And as you can see, here's a little parrot flying through the sky on a 10 by 12 canvas, and there we go. Very, very popular type of painting. So if you can come up with some ideas for these type of things and put them on a craft fair, I'm sure you will sell the heart out of them. Yes, so I'm going to be putting that on the usual of completion shortly, and we will be rolling the credits. So all that remains for me to say is thank you very much for joining me in the studio today, and you can get the kids involved with this if you want to get them a sponge or some cotton wool, or not so much cotton wool. I wouldn't say cotton wool because it'll stick. I would suggest some sponge or some tissue paper or something like that, and you could do this. This is easy. It's a simple painting. It's really one of the reasons I've done this is because you need to look at shapes. Look at shapes, the triangles, the circles, the ovals. That's all you've seen me do, and that's as simple as that. If you can paint from guidelines, you can do anything you want. If you believe it, if you truly believe that you can do it, you can do it. That's all it is belief. And don't get stressed. Sit back, enjoy it, relax. Let the painting be the painting. Stop forcing yourself onto a painting, because when you stand back and let the painting develop, it's going to be what it's going to be, which is a work of art, and that is all it is. So believe, have a little bit of self-belief, and you can achieve thousands of things in your lifetime. And that remains me to say is I'm going to put this on the easel completion, and I will see you on the next episode. So may God go with you. Have a good day, a good week, a good month, a good year, because I'm not too sure exactly when you're going to be watching this. I'm Clive from Clive's Art. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye. Nice.